going to give him a B because there was a lot to like about this performance. I saw way more positive than I saw negative, and to your point, he did bounce right back. He is a tough kid. I kept saying this before the draft. If you watch the games that I watched at Colorado for 2 years, he took unholy punishment, jumped up and threw another dart, and he got his little tip of his pinky lacerated, whatever they had to do, stitch it or whatever they did, put a Band-Aid on it, and he came right back and he threw the ball well. But the point—
I almost didn't survive this because the internet absolutely lost its mind today. Shedeur Sanders tweaks one pinky, and suddenly the NFL world is acting like it needs its own injury reserve list. What actually happened, and why are fans spiraling? Stay right here.
I don't know. You can look online to see what my finger look like if you want. I'm sure they got the details on there. I don't know. My pinky was just like, I put it in my hand warmer. I'm like, why is my pinky not getting cold? I mean, why is it not getting warm? Then, like, I threw Quinshawn like a little route down there. Then it like kind of was a little high. And I was like, dang. So then it was over with.
America did not ask for a close-up, but America got one anyway. 1 second, it's a routine Browns game in freezing Cleveland weather. The next second, the entire NFL is staring at Shedeur Sanders' throwing hand like it just auditioned for a horror movie.
News
about my Cleveland Browns. We've got an oblique problem. Obliques are big deals, especially when it's your quarterback. Now, he might be fourth on the depth chart, but he was number one in the preseason game last week, and he did a great job. 138 yards, 2 touchdowns. Shedeur Sanders has an oblique injury. That is not good. I do not like this. I hate this because I want to see more reps for Shedeur Sanders. I really do. Do you guys?
Suddenly, nobody remembers the score. Nobody remembers the Bills. The only thing anyone can talk about is the pinky. The pinky that launched 1,000 tweets, traumatized viewers, and made network executives regret their camera choices.
I looked at that game. I was a little frustrated they didn't win because I thought it was winnable. Yeah. But I didn't come away from that game scorched earth. I just think anyone who came away from that game thinking Shedeur was awful, I think we need to revisit a lot of the December quarterback play we've seen from the losing Cleveland Browns because he gave you a chance to win yesterday. He didn't win.
Basically, after the Quinshawn injury, it is basically a whole line of backup players. I mean, like the whole everything. And not only just between the offensive line, but also then you have a backup running back. You have, does Jerry Jeudy even count as a number one at this point? Doesn't seem like it to me. Doesn't seem like he can even find.
This was supposed to be a normal Sunday. December football, cold air. Cleveland hopes cautiously, peeking around the corner like it's afraid to get hurt again. Shedeur comes out looking calm, efficient, borderline surgical. 5 straight completions, a touchdown.
You got to do the perspective. Keep in mind, Pro Football Focus, even last week, ranked his receiving core dead last in the National Football League. Ranked his offensive line dead last in the National Football League. So his degree of difficulty, I'm with you on Buffalo. I'm riding the bandwagon now on Buffalo to win the AFC. That defense will give up yards, but it's cagey, savvy, veteran, opportunistic. It's tough. They know how to play because they got a whole bunch of guys on that defense who have played a whole lot of football. So
the Browns actually look competent, which already feels illegal. For a brief moment, Cleveland fans allow themselves to believe this might be real. The quarterback drought might be over. The suffering might be ending. Naturally, football immediately responds with chaos. A tipped pass turns into an interception. Momentum swings. Buffalo wakes up.
What I'm saying is the narrative around Shedeur Sanders was he could not play in structure and he was a one-throw type guy, boom or bust deep, right? But guess what? He shows you on film the next week he's able to come out here and throw the ball on time. The next week we talk about running backwards. The next week he shows he can step up in the pocket. Cosell talked about it. There's multiple. I'm not the only one to say it. Chase Daniels talks about it. Multiple quarterbacks talk about the progression. So my thing is, we can sit here and bring up a number that we looked up and said, hey, he's the worst quarterback of all time.
And then, right as Cleveland marches back to the goal line, the universe decides to spin the wheel of disaster again. Shedeur drops back, releases the ball, and instantly knows something is wrong. No dramatics, no flexing, no pretending it's fine. He grabs his hand and speed walks to the sideline like a man who just realized his body betrayed him on live television.
Before G. Bush started cooking, right? Since Shedeur Sanders has been the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns, the Browns have looked better as a team, as a whole. They have scored more points as a whole. With all those metrics that he just spit out, that Shedeur was the worst of the worst of the worst, even worse than Dylan Gabriel.
That's when the broadcast zooms in a little too enthusiastically. Towels come out, blood shows up, Pinky becomes the main character, social media combusts, phones vibrate across the country. People who weren't watching the game are now watching screenshots they definitely didn't ask for. The NFL world reacts like someone just paused the game and yelled, "You seeing this?" Shedeur disappears into the tunnel, and Cleveland fans immediately assume betrayal.
You know what, though? I'm starting to see this, man, that Shedeur got a chokehold on the city. He got a chokehold on the fans, man. He got a chokehold on the other coaches. I know a lot of coaches on that staff. They love Shedeur. And the players, I mean, you see how Myles Garrett responds to Shedeur every time he plays. And it's like the leader of the team don't come off like that. So, yes, I truly think that it's time for him to go.
What you make of the report, Care Bear? Like, what you make of it all?
I think it's time to go. I think it's time to go for Kevin Stefanski.
The backup quarterback jogs in, and the boos rain down like the city just found out hope was canceled again. Everyone's convinced this is another coaching decision, another sabotage chapter, another Cleveland classic. Except this time, no one pulled Shedeur. His finger simply decided it had other plans. Then, because this story wasn't unhinged enough, Shedeur comes back. 5 minutes later, same game, same weather, same crowd, new bandage. The pinky is wrapped like it's holding on out of pure spite.
You know, you go back to the pre-draft process, and it was not really much noise about him as far as his athleticism and things like that. And I've just noticed over 4 or 5 starts that he has better pocket poise and pocket presence than what people gave him credit for, that he's stronger at the quarterback position than what people gave him credit for. And he's sneaky athletic. The boy know how to move in the pocket. He know how to extend plays. And those are things that you want to see in the quarterback as well. I think, again, there's a game to where, you know, he can look at the film and say, okay, I want some of these throws back. But I thought he did a good job of really just taking what the defense gave him.
He grabs his helmet, throws on the sideline, and the stadium completely flips. The boos evaporate, the cheers return. Cleveland is back in love. All is forgiven because the quarterback refuses to leave. And just in case things were getting too hopeful again, the Browns lost their running back. Carted off, done for the day. The football gods are clearly multitasking at this point. Then Buffalo scores, and a certain celebration happens that pours jet fuel on the internet. The timing couldn't be worse, or better, depending on how much chaos you enjoy.
Aggravates people, like people don't like the fact that Rich talks a lot
They
about
must love
Shedeur.
I'm here.
But it's like, you know, you have a friend, and that friend's child is following in the family's footsteps. You want them to do well. I don't know why people have such an issue. I know Rich is supposed to be impartial, but it's kind of hard when you have that type of tie to it. But yeah, I'm rooting for Shedeur, man. And I was watching that game, and I don't even. But yeah, man, I hope the best for this kid, man, because it feels like he got such a rotten deal on draft weekend, and I'm happy that he showed improved a little bit. I know.
Suddenly, the discourse shifts from injury concern to morality debates, sportsmanship think pieces, and keyboard wars that will last longer than the game itself. Meanwhile, Shedeur is still out there throwing footballs with a finger that looks like it filed a workers' compensation claim. And here's where the story turns from absurd to almost inspirational, whether Cleveland wants it or not. This is a quarterback who fell hard in the draft, who started the season buried on the depth chart.
Like, we've seen growth. I don't know if this version of Shedeur Sanders would still opt to mime an oppressor. This version of Shedeur Sanders, the moment he hears a trap question, he calls it out. Yeah. And he makes you feel stupid for asking it. Hey, 4th and 2, Shedeur, you think y'all should have gone for it? Come on, man. Why y'all asking me that? Like, we want to show y'all love in the media, but when y'all ask questions like that, I can't even answer, and so now we can't even talk to y'all like we want to talk to y'all.
Impression. It was
exactly, yeah. That's it. Like, that is such maturity. That is such growth. That is such development. That's amazing.
He watched others get chances while he waited. He finally got his moment and immediately had it wrapped in gauze. Before the injury, he was playing the best football of his pro career. Calm, efficient, confidence. After the injury, he stayed. No theatrics, no speeches, just football and stubbornness. The game didn't turn into a fairy tale, but something else happened instead. Cleveland rallied around him. The fan base unified. The narrative shifted.
that he can play in the NFL. Baseline. What level can he play? We still don't know. Is he a starter? Is he a franchise quarterback? Is he a backup? Is he a 10-year backup? Like, these are all different categories. Being a 10-year backup in the NFL is hard. You can be a backup for 2-3 years, cool. Being a 10-year backup, being a Dan Orlovsky, somebody gonna pay you for 14 years for the backup, like, that's hard. Being a backup, that's easy. Being a starter, you can start a game or two. I had 2 starts in the NFL. Being a franchise starter, that's different. All we know right now is Shedeur can play.
Now the questions loom. Will the finger heal? Will defenses target it? Will the Browns protect him or find another reason not to? Nobody knows. What is clear is this: Shedeur Sanders walked into that stadium fighting for respect and walked out with the entire NFL staring at him for a completely different reason. So what happens next? Does this moment launch Shedeur's rise or become another Cleveland what if? Drop your take in the comments, hit like if this shocked you, and subscribe so you don't miss what comes next.